Hey, what's up everybody? ForneverWorld here today to do my review of Bleach episode 363. And a lot was packed into this episode. They actually packed quite a bit. So basically there was just mostly fights. Very, very, very many fights. And a lot of them were resolved in this episode already. We had Renji versus Jackie, aka Dirty Boots, her attack. And that one was solved in this particular episode. The pacing is just very, very fast in these particular episodes, which leads me to believe that they're actually rushing through, like they're really trying to get done with this arc. And I'm kind of wondering as well. I want to talk quick bit about the quote-unquote ending of the Bleach anime, because I looked on Wikipedia and it actually shows there's an episode on April 3rd, I believe, a week after the supposed ending of the anime, and it says goodbye to our execution, which I believe is the last it was the name of the last chapter of this arc. So I'm wondering if they're gonna, just because I'm hearing rumors that the anime is actually not ending and that it always aired on two different networks and just one of them is not going to be airing it anymore and it's still going to continue airing on TV Osaka. So I'm wondering exactly if it is going to continue on. Is it just going to be like after this arc we're going to get a massive filler? Are we going to get a hiatus, a break until like they have enough material to start animating the 1,000-Year Blood War? Exactly what's going to happen, I'm not exactly sure, so we just gotta wait and see. But there is an episode after the supposed ending at the end of March. It's actually one in April, so you can look forward to that, and that's entitled Goodbye to Our Execution. But again, it seems like they're really rushing through this arc because this episode had a lot of content that was like spaced. I remember reading back, like, almost each of these fights I believe was at least a chapter long, and they resolved a couple of them in this one. We had again Renji and Dirty Boots Jackie. That fight was solved. We also had Hitsugaya versus Yukio. That fight was solved. He iced him quick, and it was actually done. Yeah, they actually rushed through that fight, because I remember there was a lot more content in the manga. They just went straight through it. We also had, who else we had? A couple fights that weren't resolved, I guess you could say, was we had Tsukishima and Byakuya. That fight wasn't resolved yet. The episode actually ends like that, and I was glad that that particular fight wasn't done already, because that's one of my favorite fights of this whole Full Ringers versus Shinigami's particular part, because it's Byakuya. Zaraki's fight was already finished in the last episode within a second. The episode actually opens up with that, and it was kind of funny. And Zaraki's like, "Oh, I want to go already," because he's already done fighting. He's like, "I want to get out of here," but of course, he's gonna wait for them. What else we had? We had Rukia versus Riruka. That fight wasn't solved yet, so we got that one as well. But I'm not particularly looking forward, because I'm not going to spoil it. But judging from the setting, it's really goofy too. The setting is really goofy, all the teddy bears and colors and everything, and it's pretty funny to see Rukia in this environment. We saw a little bit of Ichigo versus Genjo in this particular one. Nothing really happens, just like talking, Uryu talking, and I really enjoy the comedy stuff where Uryu was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't tell you that back when Ukitake gave you the Shinigami badge, I always suspected that there was somebody else that Soul Society didn't really tell you about." And Ichigo just like gives him a kick in the butt, and I was laughing. I was like, that's classic Bleach stuff right there. I love the little jokes that they throw in there. It gives you that classic Bleach feel, like when Rukia came back and she kicked Ichigo's butt a little bit. That stuff right there is really funny stuff, and I enjoy seeing it. And we also had one other fight. What was the other fight? Oh yeah, it was Ikaku versus Mo. And that fight was, I believe, resolved as well, if I'm correct. I can't recall, but I do know that Mo's luck ran out. Actually that fight was resolved because Ikaku gives him the headbutt, and I remember that was a whole chapter in and of itself as well. So yeah, they were rushing through this arc very quickly. I believe 367 is going to be the last episode of this arc, Goodbye to Execution. So that's from 363 to 367. Yeah, they're stuffing a lot of content, but it doesn't feel like it feels like they could have easily done this if they wanted to, but the manga, since it actually was a lot longer, it seems like it should have been a lot longer. But the pacing doesn't feel rushed or weird. Like, it only feels rushed because I know the content and I read it in the manga. But if you never read the manga, you would never really feel like, why are they rushing through this so much? Because the Fullbringers to begin with weren't really too much of a challenge. The only ones that really could put up a fight is Genjo and Tsukishima, in my opinion. The rest of them, they were just relying on their abilities, you know, the motorcycle, dirty boots, you know, stuff like that. So it didn't really feel too rushed. Maybe the Renji fight just a tad bit, but for the most part, if you don't know about the manga, I don't think you would really realize that the pacing is like, what's going on? Why is it going so quick? So yeah, the pacing isn't really, as far as an anime only type thing. It doesn't really feel rushed or anything like that. It's just, I know personally the manga went, you know, almost every one of these fights was a chapter long at least. So yeah, I'm looking forward to next week's episode to see Renji versus not Renji, excuse me, Byakuya versus Tsukishima, because I really enjoy that fight. And overall, it was a pretty action packed episode, I gotta say. I'm disappointed that they're like running through this, but for 363 to have this many fights, this many awesome fights at that, got to give it up and give 2 thumbs up for that one, because I was like, oh wow, they packed a lot of stuff into this one. Let me know what you thought of the episode. Do you think that they're rushing through very quickly with this arc, especially like episode 363 had so many fights going on? I think 3 of them were resolved, not including Zaraki's from the previous one. So what do you think? Are they trying to rush through this particular arc and like get it over with already? And what are your thoughts on that 367 is actually after the March 27th, supposed ending of Bleach? Do you think that we're going to go into fillers after this arc, or are we just going to, like, have a break, or, what are your predictions on that whole thing? And just what are your overall thoughts of 363 with all this action-packed awesomeness? Let me know in the comment section below, or with a bit of response, give me your thoughts on Bleach episode 363. But that's all I have for you guys today. Thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Thumbs up for the action-packedness of this awesome episode of Bleach. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, have an awesome day, people.